The next morning, I awoke to songbirds singing outside. It had been 6 years since I last had a proper bed like that. I pinched my arm to make sure I wasn't dreaming. I thought of going back to sleep and laying there, wrapped in blankets with a pillow under my head. I started to do just that when I remembered about the stranger in the den. The door creaked as it opened inward. I then poked my head outside of the door, scanning for anyone. The rest of the doors were shut and the coast was clear. I crept down the hall with feet as quiet as a mouse in hopes I would not wake anyone. Part of me hoped that I wouldn't see anyone on my way down to the bottom floor. I had only just met them, and I wasn't sure what to think yet. I made my way to the main floor, onto the elevator, and down to the door of the den. Upon entering the room, the bright lights and white walls nearly blinded me. Each chamber door was made of a thick glass, reinforced, I presumed. In the first cell on the left, I saw him. He was just sitting there on the ground with an empty plate and glass full of water. "I thought I'd find you down here." The stranger looked up at me with what was almost excitement, but then his expression softened as he broke my gaze and looked at the floor.
"I thought you forgot about me."
Why would you think that?"
"This would not be the first time. I have a long history of being left and forgotten."
"Oh, well, I came to get you out of here."
"What's the point? You heard what the others said. I look like a serial killer. A murderer."
The stranger then got to his feet and walked towards the glass. There was a flash of surprise in his face when I didn't step back.
"Everywhere I go, I get turned away because of my appearance. I get called a monster, a freak, a killer. At the end of the day, all people care about is looks. What's more, you don't even know my name. What makes you think I'll listen to you? For all I know, you're the same as him. He'll just lock me up again."
I can see why you're so cynical. You've no home, no friends, no family, and I'm sure you blame yourself for everything that's happened, isn't that right? And all that time by yourself, it's lonely, isn't it?
What would you know about being alone?
More than you think I do. If you're so scared of ending up back there, then why not join us?
Excuse me?
Stay here. With us. The stranger started to back away from me with disbelief as he retreated to the corner of the cell.
No. No, 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 no. No, how could you ask such a thing? No normal person would ever want to be near me.
I see. Well, I'm not going to help you if you won't accept it, so if you really want to stay here, then I'll leave. I turned to leave in hopes the stranger would object. However, only the sound of my footsteps were to be heard.
Wait, I'll do it. I'll join this little organization.
When I looked back at him, the stranger's eyes begged me not to go despite his cold demeanor. A smile painted my face as the heavy glass door opened with a swipe of my ID card. As I stepped inside the chamber, I held out my hand to the stranger who sat on the floor just looking up at me. When I pulled him up, I noticed how light he was for someone his height. Now that that's settled, I think it's time I formally introduce myself. My name is Utsu Sasaki. It's a pleasure to meet you. The stranger in front of me flinched as I stepped towards him. His hesitant gaze locked on my outstretched hand. Slowly, he returned my handshake with a gentle grip.
Sin. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And so we add another 4-star member to Nexus. Sin, was it?
Yes.
I'm sure in time the others will understand. But for now, Miss Sasaki, I would like you to go to the Grounded Bean, a local cafe. It's located in a strip mall on the main road. You can't miss it.
What's that got to do with anything?
Oh, right. There's been an unconfirmed sighting of a potential Oasis member. I would like you to go and check it out. Do not engage in combat in a public area.
An assignment already? By myself? But I'm so new to all of this, and why are you sending me alone?
I need you to go alone because the member that was sighted knows the faces of the rest of the members. It is nothing more than a little reconnaissance mission. I have faith in you, Miss Sasaki, and should you need anything, I am but a phone call away.
Akio then created a portal with a wave of his hand and gestured for me to go through. As I stepped through the portal, it felt like a warm embrace. It made me think of the times I spent with my dad when I was younger. Whenever he came home, I always ran out of my room to greet him. The warmth of the sun hit my face as soon as I passed through the mist of the portal. A light breeze ran through my coat as I started walking. Akio had put me in a park located near the strip mall he was talking about. I made my way over to the main street and started walking along the sidewalk. The whole street was bustling with people. Too many people. As clouds passed over the sun, that warm feeling I had moments ago quickly faded away. The world around me started to become too much. My lungs felt as if they were full of lead, and my vision became clouded. When people bumped into me, I tried to move away, but in doing so, I would run into another person. Worst of all was the noise. There was so much noise. Even the sound of my own beating heart was just too loud, and the blood that flowed through my body sounded like roaring rapids. When my vision cleared, I saw a way out. I slipped into a dark alleyway, safe from the outside world. My heart raced even faster as various scenarios ran through my head. What if I get lost? I don't know my way around town. I know that Akio told me I could call him if I needed anything, but what if it's at a bad time and he gets angry with me? What if I get trampled by the crowd? My small body wouldn't last long under the feet of all those who stepped on me. What if? My head started to spin as I stood there in the alleyway. I retched at the thought of going back out as I held my stomach. My hands turned clammy as I tried to stop them from shaking. My knees gave out from under me when I tried to take even a step forward. My vision blurred once again as I fell to the ground. I stayed like that for a few minutes when someone called out to me.
Excuse me. Are you all right, miss?
I looked up to see a rather tall woman standing in the alley entrance with the light blocking out her face. When I did not reply, the woman slowly made her way toward me. She knelt beside me, careful as to not scare me. When my vision cleared, I was met with kind amethyst eyes. Long dark hair cascaded down her back, and her business casual clothes were pristine as can be.
Please, let me help you up.
I was practically lifted off the ground when the woman pulled me up. She then brushed the dirt off my coat and checked for any visible injuries.
Now, where are you off to? You seem lost.
What gave it away?
Well, I did find you alone, collapsed in an alleyway. I figured something might be off. Tell me, what is your name?
It would be best if you didn't know. It would only cause trouble.
Trouble? 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 I get into all sorts of trouble if... Sorry, if you know what I mean.
Oh, how lovely.
I won't make you tell me. I am a stranger after all. But I can be of some assistance if you would like directions.
Oh, yes, I was looking for the Grounded Bean.
That's not far from here. Why don't I take you there myself?
Oh, that's all right. You don't need to go out of your way for me.
It'll be no trouble at all.
The woman grabbed my hand and started to pull me towards the street. My arm was completely outstretched when she'd realized that I was firmly planted into place. The woman turned back and put her hand on my shoulder.
I see that you're nervous about what lies beyond. But if you trust me, I'll make sure nothing happens to you on the way.
The woman gave me a kind smile as I nodded. She then led me out of the dark alleyway and held me close. It was then I noticed all of the fear that I felt in the moment before had disappeared. I felt safe and protected. And before I knew it, we had arrived at our destination.
Well, we're here. The grounded bean. Listen, if you ever need anything, find me, and I'll be at your service.
I turned around to thank the woman, but she had disappeared from my sight and slipped into the crowd. I never even knew her name, but I felt like I had met her before. Just as I was opening the cafe door, I heard a familiar voice call to me from the crowd.
Hey, Utsu! Wait for me!
I turned around to see Charlotte making her way towards me. Her long golden curls bounced with every step she took. What are you doing here? I thought Akio sent me alone.
He changed his mind and sent me. Guess he didn't want you to be alone after all.
The cafe was small, but rather cozy. Contemporary art for sale lined the walls, and Charlotte's platform shoes made a loud sound as she walked along the wood floors. Charlotte also ordered a rather, peculiar drink. If I remember correctly, it was
An ice risotto, 10-shot large with brie, 5 pump vanilla, 7 pumps caramel, 4 sweeteners, and poured. Not shaken. Whatever that means.
The barista looked at me with pleading eyes, hoping I wouldn't order the same. I'll just have a cup of raspberry tea with milk, please. The barista rang us up with a sigh of relief. Once our drinks were in hand, Charlotte led me over to a small table near the front windows. Immediately after that, she started spewing out all sorts of questions.
So, what's your favorite color? Why's your hair like that? What'd you do before joining Nexus? How'd you get here? What do you hope to achieve in life?
I tried to answer her questions, but before I could open my mouth, she spouted out another. Oh, I swear I felt my head start to spin as soon as she opened her mouth. I felt like Charlotte was a good person, but she was just, a lot. My favorite color is red. I don't know why my hair is like this. I wandered around the city before joining Nexus. I walked from my hometown, and I hope to one day reunite with my family. If that's all, then may I ask you a question?
Sure, go for it.
What was the unfortunate accident that prevented you from making it big?
Well, a few years ago, I was about to submit my first collection to a company to review. The night before I was supposed to send it off, however, my apartment caught on fire and I lost everything. My sketches, my supplies, and even the clothes I had already made. And when I joined Nexus, Mr. Inzen said that I could no longer produce my designs, because he didn't want the members to be well known. While I wasn't able to make it big, though, Mr. Inzen has allowed me to keep sewing. Now, I repair and make clothes for the members of Nexus. I would do anything to get my life back, you know. But now, it seems like that would be impossible.
Charlotte's usually cheery expression faded to that of longing.
But that's besides the point. You better drink your tea before it gets cold. I hate cold tea. In fact, I dislike tea with a passion. I would say hate, but hate is such a strong word.
Charlotte went on like this for the rest of our time at the cafe while I sat there and listened to all of her ramblings. Even though I hardly got a word in, it was a shame that it had to end so soon.
Now that Miss Sasaki is gone, there's much I'd like to discuss with you, Mr. Judicael.
How do you know my family name?
I'm sure you'll find out in time, but for now, let us walk.
Akio started to walk away before I could say another word. By the time Akio finished his response, he had already left the room. Hey, answer my question! By the time I caught up with Akio, he was already on the elevator waiting for me. There were only 3 unlabeled buttons on the panel. One for the ground floor and the basement, of course, and the third was, I don't know. Could be documents that hold some big secret that will blow up in our faces later on. Who am I kidding? Probably not the case.
To answer your question, I'm well versed in all cases that involve the gifted. And yes, that includes everything to do with Dr. Gunther M. Engele.
How do you two know each other?
Trust me, I wish I didn't. In any case, allow me to show you to your room, Mr. Dudikel.
Sin is fine, thanks.
Understood, Mr. Sin.
Just Sin, please.
But of course.
The elevator dinged and the doors opened to the ground floor. I followed Akio down another set of hallways and up a flight of stairs.
This is your bedroom. Feel free to do with it as you please, as it is yours for the keeping, so long as you're part of Nexus.
Whoa, this is all going too fast. Why are you doing this?
Let's say I'm paying off an old debt, doing a favor for someone I once knew.
Are you always this direct?
You're a funny one, you know that? Would you like your official Nexus ID now or later?
Later. Could you just tell me what's going on?
All will be explained in time. I can assure you that when you are part of this organization, I will do everything in my power to ensure your safety and well-being.
I find that hard to believe. This morning I was roaming around trying to hunt down the guy who's responsible for almost every bad thing that has happened to me. Now I'm supposed to be living with a bunch of strangers who I'm pretty sure hate me because of a newscast that was made years ago. And now you're giving me an official ID to a government organization.
Seems to be a common theme with new recruits these days. I'm sure this is a lot, but there is a reason for all of it.
What if I want no part of it? What if I want to be alone? What if I just left right now?
You won't.
Try me.
You sound just like your father right now.
You knew my father?
Yes, I did. He wasn't perfect to say the least, but he did love you. And what of your brother? Have you seen him lately?
How do you know so much about me?
I can't answer that right now. It's too dangerous. What I can tell you is that should you choose to stay, I can promise you a welcoming home in due time. The one you've always wanted. In any case, I'll leave you to get settled in. Also, I'd like you to meet me in the basement when the sun sets. I have something planned. There's an elevator at the end of the hall to your right. Hit the bottom button.
Akio gently shut the door as he left me alone. In the room, I was no longer cold, like I had been all those years ago. To my surprise, it was fully furnished as if Akio had been expecting me. Other than a thin layer of dust, everything in that room was as perfect as can be. A gray comforter laid upon white sheets on the full-sized bed in the corner. I ran my hand across a small, white, wooden desk with an ordinary office chair sat across from the bed and against the opposite wall. I passed a small wardrobe sitting to the right of the desk. Akio's words echoed in my head as my gaze fell upon the bed underneath the window in the corner. I walked over to the edge of the soft surface and reached out my hand to feel the warmth of the blanket. At that moment, I froze as Gunther's word invaded my ears. His cold tone and his tight grip came to mind as I felt the wall against my back. You're not there anymore. You're not there anymore. You're not there anymore. You're not there anymore. I repeated this until my breathing slowed and my head no longer spun. By the time that happened, I found myself on the floor with my head buried in my arms.
When we returned to the HQ, Akio was there waiting for us. A stern look pierced my soul as I walked through the door. However, I soon realized that Akio was not glaring at me, but at Charlotte.
Charlotte, I thought I asked you to pick up the mail from the post office. What are you doing with Miss Sasaki? I sent her to the opposite side of town.
I already did that. I just wanted to spend some more time with Utsu. It's been so long since I've had another girl to talk to. I just wanted to get to know her, and...
That's quite enough, Charlotte. The only thing I ask is for you not to do it again. I trust you'll do that. Yes?
Yes, boss.
Good. Now, if you'll excuse me.
What's his deal? Talk about being a killjoy.
I thought you told me that Akio sent you.
Oh no, you must have heard me wrong. I told you that I was on my way back from picking up the mail.
Without warning, I started to feel lightheaded. My heart began to pound and my hands started to shake.
Are you feeling all right? You look pale.
I do feel a bit feverish. Maybe I should. The world fell dark before I could finish my sentence. And once I was plunged into darkness, I started hearing an ear-piercing ringing. It was as if a grenade had just gone off 2 feet in front of me. Soon, I started to hear a familiar voice. There was so much noise. I just wanted to scream. But in the midst of the chaos, I heard... This voice echoed over and over, repeating the same phrase again and again. Then suddenly all went quiet, and I heard a whisper in my ear.
He's coming! Watch for the man in the red who controls time. He'll kill you both, you and me.
Hello, hello! Thank you for listening to episode 3 of Nexus, Gifts and Gods. I'm Utsu Sasaki, creator and voice of Utsu. Wow, it's been quite the journey so far. We're almost halfway done with the first season already. That being said, there's more work to be done, but not before thanking my talented cast and crew. This series wouldn't be possible without Alex Mitz as Sin, Richard Weber as Akio, Josh Portillo as our mysterious woman, and Nassim Benelcourt as Koro. They really are the best, and I don't know what I'd do without them. Their links will be in the description. Please go check them out. They deserve it. They're awesome. Want more updates, concept art, and bonus content? Follow me on any social media at Atsuyalan. That's ATSUYILAN, Atsuyalan. There I post concept art updates, and I do other fun stuff too. I am an animator. So, yeah. Again, thank you so much for listening. It truly, truly means the world to me. I'm very thankful for each and every person who listens to my silly little project that I've poured my heart and soul into, and it makes me so glad that people enjoy it. But that being said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.